the Fall Classic. The Indians, they haven't won a World Series since 1948. The Marlins in the Fall Classic in only their 5th year in the league. Rachel Robinson, Jackie Robinson's widow, on hand for the first pitch ceremonies. Top of the first, Livan Hernandez, first pitch to leadoff man Bip Roberts. It's a strike, and a lot of people preserve the moment. 2 pitches later, it's Roberts, the double, down the right field line. After a sacrifice bunt, not pictured, moves Roberts to third. Hernandez facing David Justice. And Justice comes through. The single to center brings home the Bitmeister. It is 1-0 in favor of the Tribe. Bottom of the first, same score, Oral Hershiser facing the leadoff man, Devon White. There's Oral. Perhaps you recognize him. There's White. The grounder to first. Jim Thome whirls. Nice play as Hershiser covers the bag. After the inning, Oral hits his head, and his teammates think it's funny because it didn't happen to them. Top of the second, 1-0 Indians. Hernandez gets Sandy Alomar. Your next batter, Marquise Grissom. He too goes down, and then it is Oral swinging futilely at that one. Hernandez strikes out the side. Top of the third, 1-0. Roberts on second. Justice, chance to drive him in again, but Hernandez induces the fly ball to left. Your next batter, Matt Williams, gets him on the check swing on the outside corner. Bottom 3 now. Marlins still down 1-0. Hershiser to Craig Counsell, hits one over the first base bag and down the line. That a leadoff double for Counsell. 3 batters later now, it's Edgar Renteria. The dribbler up the first base line. It's enough to score Counsell. That evens the game at 1. After the inning, Hershiser, more problems with the dugout. His troubles with the Marlins only beginning. Bottom of the fourth, tied at 1. Runner on first, Aaron Dolan. Grounds one to second. No one covers first. Runners on first and second. Your next batter, Moises Alou. And Moises Alou says, be seeing you. 3-run shot. It's 4-1 Florida. And the Marlins feeling good. Next batter, Charles Johnson. And Johnson going deep to left, 438 feet. Back-to-back homers, just the 11th time that has happened in World Series history. It's 5-1 Marlins. As Kevin Brown and Alou celebrate that one. Top of the 5th, 5-1. Roberts leading off again. Grounder back to Hernandez. Great play between the legs. The replay confirms what we already suspected. That was a good play. Bottom of the 5th, 5-2 Marlins, 2 runners on. Jeff Conine the single. Gary Sheffield Wednesday scores. 6-2 Marlins. 2 batters later, Jeff Juden now on the hill. And that one gets away. Ball 4 to Charles Johnson. Bobby Bowe scores. 7-2 Marlins. Hershiser, that one charged to him. He allowed just 6 earned runs in 4 World Series starts prior to tonight. 7 earned runs on this one. Top of the 6th now, Indians down 7-2. Jim Thome, the homer to left off Hernandez. Hernandez visibly upset. Quite visibly. Top of the 8th, Indians trail 7-3. Grissom on first, Jay Powell pitching. Brian Giles laces one into right center. Brings home Grissom. 7-4 Marlins. After a walk to Roberts now, the tying run at the plate in the person of Omar Vizquel. Strikes out looking to end the inning. It is still 7-4. Top 9 now, still 7-4. 1 out, 1 on, Rob Min. Pitching to Matt Williams. Grounds one to third. Bonilla, the nice stop. But Williams beats the throw to first. Runners on first and second. Nen getting Jim Thome with a 102-mile-per-hour fastball. Then gets Sandy Alomar swinging. That is the game. The Marlins, a 7-4 winner in Game 1. More than 67,000 on hand to watch it in Miami.
Trouble, 1 out in the first. Omar Vizquel hits a bullet off the wall, eludes Gary Sheffield for a double. Then it's 2 batters later, David Justice comes calling. Justice, the base knock. Vizquel scores. Indians stake to a 1-0 lead on another Justice first inning RBI. In Florida's half of the first, Edgar Renteria at first, 1 out. Chad O.J. to Gary Sheffield, and he plunks him. Sheffield in great pain. had trouble getting to first base, trying to shake it off. He would stay in the game. 2 batters later, Jeff Conine trying to make O.J. pay for his wildness. He does. Goes the other way, brings in Renteria. Conine has tied the game at 1. In the second, 1 on for Sandy Alomar.
On the catching hand.
Alomar is going to test Bobby Bonilla, and Bonilla turns the 5-4-3 double play. Brown was not sharp and really didn't settle down. Bip Roberts, the one-hopper. Renteria, look at it again. The help of Indians first base coach Dave Nelson.
Hurry, Bip, hurry, hurry! You know what? I can't argue. I ain't gonna argue with him.
And he didn't have an argument. He was out on the replay. Moise Alou on second, 4th inning. Charles Johnson, little tapper. Alomar comes out and pounces on it, throws to Matt Williams. The replay would show Alou was safe. They called him out. Tied at 1 through 4. Indians bats come alive in the 5th. Williams hits the little flare for a base knock. After Jim Thome struck out Alomar, the base hit. Next batter, Marquise Grissom, another single. Williams comes around to score. Indians stake to a 2-1 lead. Next up, the pitcher, Chad O.J. O.J. doing his job with the sacrifice bunt, moving the runners along. And Brown continues to stay in trouble. Next up, Bip Roberts. The bullet back through the box. 2 runs come in. The Indians playing National League ball. They're leading 4-1. Indians go back to American League baseball in the 6th. And Sandy Alomar Jr. comes calling again. It has been his year. Gone. 2-run homer. Indians stake to a 6-1 lead on the Marlins ace. Meanwhile, Chad O.J. under control. Jeff Conine pops it up. Sandy Alomar does his Gumby routine. 2 batters later, Charles Johnson at the plate. Mike Hargrove must be growing tired of having to defend why he's using Chad O.J. But O.J. has gotten little run support during the postseason. In fact, his ERA was lower than Kevin Brown's. Jose Mesa came in to close it out. Gets Devo, the bouncer. Mesa covers the last out. The Indians have tied the series at 1 game apiece as they pick up the victory by the final of 7-1. 3 times during the postseason, the Indians have
Ohio with several siblings as well of Jim Leyland. Big moment for Jim Leyland in the top of the 1st. Scoreless game no more. Gary Sheffield takes Charles Nagy deep and gone for a solo shot. 1-0 Marlins after 1. 2 outs, bottom of the 1st. Runners on 1st and 2nd. Matt Williams fists Al Leiter into right center. The Bipper scores. We're tied at 1. We now have runners on the corners for the next batter, Sandy Alomar Jr., known for going long ball in this yard this year. Just a blooper just out of the reach of Edgar Renteria. David Justice scores. Tried to score 2 in the 1st, all with 2 outs. Next inning, Leiter helping himself. Roberts back through the box. Al Leiter right back at you. Wow, look what I found. Top of the 3rd, and now he's going to hold the bottom. Top of the 3rd, bases loaded. Nagy walks Sheffield to force in a run. 3rd straight walk by Nagy. We are tied at 2. Next batter, bases still loaded for Bobby Bonilla, who has a bad hamstring. Everybody's been talking about it, and you can see it here on the 3-6-1 double play. Bonilla has trouble getting down the line. First batter of the 4th inning, Darren Dalton busts out the whooping stick on Nagy. Marlins lead 3-2. Bottom of the 4th, 1, little 2, little 3, little Indians on 3 Al Leiter walks. Mike Hargrove, I can't feel my fingers. Omar Vizquel walks. Alomar Jr. scores. We are tied at 3. Next batter, Manny Ramirez, the slow roller. Bobby Bowe charges, fields, fires, double clutches, throws it away. 2-run score. You can see he doesn't have the handle, should have ate it. Instead, he throws it. It's a single and an error on Bonilla. It's 5-3 Indians. Bottom of the 5th, Jim Thome adds to it with a 2-run shot to right field. It is 7-3 Indians. Top of the 6th, designated hitter Jim Eisenreich at the plate. He got it. A 2-run shot to make it a 2-run game once again. Marlins trailing 7-5. Bottom of the 6th, Omar Vizquel on second. Matt Williams at the plate. rips one down the line. Bobby Bo redemption throws out Matt Williams from his knees to end the inning. Just 2 innings after making that big error. An incredible play from Bobby Bonilla. Instead of an 8-5 game, it's still 7-5. And that was key. Top of the 7th, it's now 7-6. Mike Jackson in the game. Gary Sheffield takes him deep to center field. Renteria scores. Sheffield is batting .444 in the series. He had 5 RBIs in Game 3. We are tied at 7. The Fish come all the way back from a 4-run deficit. Tomei already with a home run in the ninth in the bottom of the 7th. Takes Felix Heredia deep to right, but Sheffield is there saying, you want me on that wall, you need me on that wall. Hits a home run and perhaps takes one away. It looks like it would have gone off the wall. Nevertheless, an incredible play by Gary Sheffield, who is just taking things over in this series. Top of the 8th, base is full of Marlins, tied at 7. Sheffield with a chance to untie it. Matt Williams bobbles, but gets the force at third to end the inning. Mike Hargrove loving, Leland family bumming. Top of the 9th, still tied at 7. Plunk still pitching. Bonilla at first. Dalton base hit. Bobby Bo hesitates but decides he's going to go to third. Hamstring and all, busting his rump. Gets in there and the throw hits him. Goes out of play and Bonilla scores the run. The Marlins are up 8-7. Dalton now on third. Cliff Floyd intentionally walked as a pinch hitter. And Eric Plunk tries to pick him off, gets away from Tomei. It's now 9-7 Marlins. Every possible wheel fell off the Indian wagon in the 9th. Craig Counsell's grounder not fielded well by Tony Fernandez. 10-7 Marlins. Top of the 9th, still Gary Sheffield base hit. Johnson, Counsell come on down. It's 12-7. Bobby Bo would knock in 2 more to make it 14-7 Marlins. They hang a 7 spot on the Tribe in the 9th. The Tribe coming back in their bottom of the 9th. Bases loaded, 1 out on Rob Nen. Tony Fernandez, Moises Salou makes the catch. Justice tags, 2 outs, 14-8 Indians. Grissom already had a hit in his 15-game World Series hit streak now. Another base hit off Edgar Renteria's glove. Brian Giles makes it 14-9. Bip Roberts doubles to right center. Tomei and Grissom make it a 14-11 game. Rob Nen stunned. It's now a 3-run game. Jim Leland also stoic. Right there. Bottom of the 9th now with 2 outs. Manny Ramirez representing the tying run, but he's in the on-deck circle, and he would stay there as Omar Vizquel grounds to second to end a wild and woolly Game 3 of the World Series, which the Marlins take 14-11. Now, it may not look like it in the
first and second. Bonilla, no butter, no swerve. Ground ball to Tony Fernandez for the 4-6-3 double play. Bonilla in that sore hammy, an 0-for-4 night. Bottom 1, Saunders facing Manny Ramirez. W-E-F-U-N-K, we-funk. 2-run shot. Ramirez's 4th postseason homer this year. 9th career postseason homer in 3 years, 2-zip Tribe. Still bottom 1. Matt Williams, the batter. Hot shot past Darren Dalton, can't come up with it. A single for Williams. Matt on his way to a 3-for-3 night. Next batter, Sandy Alomar. Yep. Off-speed pitch up the alley in left center. Devon White comes over. They're going to wave Williams in, play at the plate. Williams, great slide, money. Scores. Look at it again. Charles Johnson, pretty good position, but Matt Williams slide low and away. Nice job, 3-zip Tribe. Top 3, same score. Sandy Alomar calls for the curve, and Gary Sheffield, all right, broke it. Ill. Sheffield, no, you didn't call that. Sheff 0-for-3 in the night. Bottom 3, Saunders, his own worst enemy. He starts by walking Ramirez, one of 3 walks he issued. Then he tries to pick off Ramirez at first. Not a good play. Throws the ball away for the error. Ramirez moves to second. Next batter, David Justice. The grounder to short. Usually the short-handed Edgar Renteria slips as he fields it way high. Ramirez scores. The Indians committed 3 errors in 1 inning Tuesday. The Marlins committed 2 errors in 1 inning on Wednesday, 4-zip. Next batter, Matt Williams. He takes ball 4. Next up, Sandy Alomar. This kid is just blowing up. Sandy Alomar, 8-for-17 in the series. It's 5-zip Cleveland. Next up, Jim Tomei. He walks. After 2+ innings, Saunders take a shower. ERA of 27 for the game. Then Charles Johnson with 2 on to Omar Vizquel. On the day he got his 5th career Gold Glove, he shows you why. Nice backhand. Top 6, booyah! Moises Alou, 2-run shot. 2nd career postseason home run in 12 games. His father and uncle, no home runs in 42 combined postseason games. Bottom 7, 7-3 Indians. Runner at first for Marquise Grissom. The high chopper to Bobby Bo at third. Throws out Grissom. Grissom's series hitting streak, 15 games, in danger. Top 8, 8-3. Tribe defenses the bomb. Alou, the pop-up toward the Marlins dugout. Jim Tomei. Oh, cut it out, Jim. Bottom 8, 8-3 Tribe. Matt Williams, make my funk the we funk. Jumps on the Jay Powell pitch. Matt hit 125 in the 1989 World Series. He's hitting 412 in this World Series, 10-3 Indians. Still bottom 8, Marquise Grissom on deck, hoping to extend his hitting series streak. Tony Fernandez, the shot up the middle. Great stop by Renteria to get the force. Grissom's 15-game series hitting streak, the second best ever, over. Top 9, 10-3 Indians. Brian Anderson in to close it out. Brian throws for the out. Indians win it 10-3 for the second straight night. The Tribe.
6 degrees in Cleveland, average for the last week in October. Top of the second, Moise Alou gets one behind his head after a Darren Dalton double. He's not happy. Very next pitch, he pops it to Omar Vizquel in short center. Alou again not happy as he tosses the bat away, and then a little more anger in the dugout. That would come to play later after getting Jeff Conine. Hershiser now facing Charles Johnson with 2 out. The blooper falls in between Bip Roberts and Manny Ramirez, and Dalton will wheel around to score, and it's 1-0 Marlins. After a Craig Counsell walk, the slumping Devon White steps to the plate, struck out 4 times in Game 4, rips one to right, scoring Charles Johnson, but Manny Ramirez makes a pretty nice play on the ball. Bip Roberts makes a great play on the relay, and Counsell is dead. Marlins lead 2-0. Bottom of the second, Livan Hernandez facing Jim Thome with 1 out. He launches one halfway to Ashtabula off the top of the wall. White was too close to playing it. He ought to know from playing Fenway. Allows Thome to extend the hit into a triple. He did not have one in 496 regular season at bats. Sandy Alomar Jr. now at the plate. He whacks one into right field to score Thome, and the Tribe's within 2-1. Between innings, the always emotional Hernandez a bit excited with himself. The veterans, Alex Fernandez and Johnson, trying to cheer up the young rookie. Of course, Fernandez will have surgery on Tuesday. Bottom of the third, Hernandez in trouble, 2 on and 2 out. Alomar crushing the ball to left, his 3-run homer, his 5th of the postseason. 10 World Series RBIs, 19 in the postseason for Sandy. Daddy liked it. 4-2 Tribe. Bottom of the 5th after a walk to Matt Williams. Thome shot up the middle, grabbed by Edgar Renteria, who gets the force play, gets him out of the inning. Hernandez says, thanks for the help. Top of the 6th, Renteria trying to become the first Marlin to reach since the 2nd, but his struck out swing, the 10th straight, retired by the Bulldog. But then a single by Sheffield and a walk to Bonilla brings Alou to the plate with 2 out. The 2-1 slider hangs, and Alou mashes it to center field over the wall that Thome hit it off of. The 3-run shot puts the Marlins up 5-4. Alou's 3rd homer of the series, his 2nd off Hershiser. Hershiser now out. Eric Plunk in after Alvin Moorman had walked Counsell, and Plunk walks White to bring in Jeff Conine. 6-4 Marlins. Top of the 8th, still 6-4. Chopper off the plate. Jeff Juden takes his time. Fields fires. Ken Kaiser calls him safe. Let's see it again. The replay shows... you make the call. Now with Conine up, Alou then tries to steal.
He's off the base!
Yeah, Bip Roberts says he's off the base, and he was right. Ed Montague should have called him out. Alou given another life. He also got a knee to the head, and that didn't feel too good, but he's at second base after he might have been out twice. After Conine grounds out to get him to third, Charles Johnson with the base hit to score Alou, making it 7-4 Marlins on the controversial run. Bottom of the 9th, 8-4 Marlins. Hernandez still in. Watch this play on the bounder by Bip Roberts. Hernandez covering, appears to make it in plenty of time. Kaiser again calls the runners safe. Look at the play again. You make the call. Jimmy Leland checking his glasses. Kaiser didn't wear any. Vizquel up next. Base hit to right center. That moves Roberts to third. Hernandez would leave the game after 142 pitches. Rob Nen in to face Manny Ramirez. The check swing with 2 strikes. The appeal to Kaiser. That's how he called strike 3. 1 down. Jave Justice up next. The base hit to center. Roberts scores. Vizquel, who had stole second, also scores. It's now 8-6. 2 outs now. Williams at second after a fielder's choice and an error, and Thome singles to left to score Matt Williams to make it 8-7. Nen didn't pitch too well in Game 3. The wild 14-11 thing either. Sandy Alomar Jr. up. He had homered early. The drive to right. Could he be the hero again? No. Sheffield squeezes it for out number 3. Leland and Livan share a moment together after